My boyfriend of 7 months just kicked me out of his apartment and made me walk home alone in a sketchy part of town because I sent him a poop sticker on Facebook. Posted by you/Poopella. I'm embarrassed by how childish and petty this sounds, especially compared to the other stuff on this subreddit. However, this is my first relationship, and I honestly don't know what to think about what just happened. First of all, my 21F boyfriend Greg, 21M, and I have pretty immature senses of humor and always have. We like to tease each other a lot and commonly partake in body humor, like we'll joke around if one of us farted, or after a night out at dinner, we'll drive home and pretend to be in labor and call dibs on the bathroom to deliver our food babies, aka poop. It sounds so childish typing it out, but we have a lot of fun and are very comfortable with each other. Also, we have never had a fight before and communicate openly about things, but have never had a real problem to communicate about. Tonight I was at his place to marathon Netflix. Greg got up to go to the bathroom, and I asked him if I should pause it, aka would he be taking a long time. He answered no, so I figured he was just going to go pee. However, 15 minutes later he still wasn't back from the bathroom. No problem, I got up to make myself a snack. On the way to the kitchen, I walked past the bathroom and heard the sounds of an app that Greg and I commonly play on our phones. I thought this was pretty funny. On Facebook, there are sticker sets to use in the chat feature, which are basically like unique emojis. One of the sets features an anime-looking poop character and his toilet paper friend. No idea why someone made this, but I think it's quite funny and kind of cute. One of the stickers is of the poop character sitting on a toilet, looking intently at his phone, so I playfully sent this to Greg. Me, poop sticker of playing on a phone. Me, you right now haha. Him, wow. I laughed to myself, put my phone away, made my snack, and went back to the living room. Greg came out, and we continued to watch Netflix. However, I noticed he was being physically distant, not putting his arm around me, not sitting close to me on the couch. However, I gave him his space. He was quiet for about 20 minutes, then he said, "Do you have a friend that you could get to take you home?" I literally did not know what he was talking about. I said, "What?" And he repeated what he'd said. I asked him what was wrong, but he wouldn't answer for a while. I asked him if he was upset with me, and he said, "I just can't believe you did that. That was just really upsetting." I said, "What are you talking about? You mean the sticker?" Him, obviously. I was stunned. I had no idea why he was so offended or what exactly I had done wrong, but I immediately apologized. I said, "I'm so sorry that I offended you, I had no idea. That was not my intent at all, I was just joking. Could you tell me what about that upset you so I don't do it again in the future?" Greg flipped out and said I was regarded if I couldn't see what I did wrong. He said there was something wrong with me and that I had the mentality of a effing child. I was really hurt by this and asked if he seriously wanted me to leave. He said yes, and I asked if he was going to drive me home. I had ridden with him and didn't have my car. He said no, because why would he after what I just did? I was so pissed off that I stormed out of the house. Keep in mind that this was 11 p.m. in a crappy part of town. None of the buses were running and I felt too ashamed to call my friends, so I walked all the way home. Nothing happened, but I'm so mad he would force me to walk home by myself in a shady area just because of this. And he showed no concern for me whatsoever. So now I'm sitting here, fuming. I'm actually considering ending things over his huge overreaction, because he refuses to talk to me and explain what's going on. He keeps saying, "You should know." Then he said, "Whatever, I'm going to bed," and cut me off. Reddit, what is going on? Can anyone shed light on this? Is this even worth trying to salvage? I find his rage at this and refusal to communicate very immature. To the point where I almost don't want to be in a relationship with him anymore. Like, if he'll send me out in the cold for this, is he going to leave me on the side of the road next time we disagree on something? I'm so confused. He has never reacted like this or gotten mad at anything before. I just don't think I did anything really bad. However, this is my first relationship, so if I'm in the wrong, let me know. Thanks. /relevant comments. Commenter. Do you think there were maybe some other issues, and he immediately just pinned it on the first thing he could blame it on, the poop sticker? Sounds like a jerk for making you walk home so late. Bye Felicia his bum. Ops response. I've been wondering this myself, if this is really because of some other underlying issue. But for the life of me, I 100% can't think of anything that would be bothering him. He's acted totally normal, and we've had a great last couple of weeks, lots of fun dates, went partying with friends, etc. This is totally out of the blue for me, and I just want to know if he's really upset about something else. But he just won't talk to me. Commenter 2. That's ridiculous. He made you walk home alone at 11 p.m. because of a poop sticker. when you make poop jokes all the time. I mean, even if you didn't make poop jokes all the time, that's no reason to make anybody walk home in a sketchy area at night over. Not to mention calling you a regard. That's quite literally never okay. This is a serious red flag. I'd dump him harder than an actual crap. Ops response. Yeah, the regard language was shocking and horrifying. We joke around, but I would never call him a name, let alone regard or anything with effing in front of it. It seemed totally irrational. I think I am going to break up with him, but I'm wondering if it's worth it to try and get an explanation for his behavior first, or just never talk to him again. Commenter 3. My best friend and I make fart jokes all the time. I send her poop haikus while she is in the toilet, and she calls my farts Black Death. If she got upset over a fart joke, I would be shocked. Because it would have come out of nowhere. Your boyfriend is immature and kind of a crappy person. This is what I would send him. What do you and a toilet have in common? You both just experienced a dump. We are done. Ops response. Haha. Thanks for putting a smile on my face. I might just use this. This is great. Update 1 day later. Thank you everybody for the advice and support. Just to clarify from the last post, I literally only sent Greg the poop sticker and the you right now haha, so I'm sure I didn't accidentally write or send anything else, and I sent that through a private chat with only me and him. I did not post it to his wall or through a group chat. Though even if I did, I wouldn't really see a reason for extreme offense. Anyway, I hope that answers some posters' questions. After taking today to think about it and talking it over with my best friend, I decided to follow my instinct, and the advice of everybody here, and break up with Greg. He didn't contact me at all since he abruptly cut me off last night, and after he posted a picture of having a grand old brunch with his buddies on Facebook, I decided enough was enough. He didn't seem to have any remorse, and it really stung to see how few craps he gave about me. Pun intended? I messaged him, "You're a crappy person. We're over. Don't contact me again." And blocked him on Facebook. Sorry I wasn't brave enough to use the brilliant responses some people suggested. The dump and turd puns were great, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was too mad. After I changed my relationship status and deleted our couple pics, I got several calls from Greg. I debated just blocking his number as well, but my curiosity got the best of me, so I picked up. I was met with dead silence. He was really pissed at me. I said, "Hello?" in an impatient way, and he said, "This is really how you're going to do this?" We had an argument where we were basically just shouting and blaming each other, with me mostly defending my decision to break up and him saying I was a BTCH for throwing away a good relationship on a whim. I pointed out that I'd been willing to work it out with him and try to fix whatever it was that I'd done wrong, but it was his unwillingness that made me think it wasn't worth it. After about 40 minutes of arguing, Greg started to realize that I was really serious and this wasn't just a tactic to get his attention, and he started getting genuinely upset. He said, "Please don't break up, we are so good together." Which was actually hard for me to hear because up until this point, we have had a really great relationship. So I started to feel really bad. However, I kept thinking about how I'd never trust him with my safety again and how galling it was that he hadn't been concerned about me or my well-being until he'd noticed we were now broken up. Also how surprised I'd been by his anger and name-calling. I'd never seen that side of him before and no longer trusted who I thought he was. So I tried to stand firm. Long story short, we talked/argued for a while longer, and Greg thought that talking about the problem would be enough to get me to stay with him. So he confessed. And it was. Really stupid, in my opinion. Basically, about a week ago, I hung out with Greg and his buddies. We are both gamers, and they were having a game night and asked me to come along. The attitude of that whole group is to trash talk each other and playfully rib each other, especially while gaming, so that night when we were playing games, I joined in on the trash talk. None of it was mean-spirited, to me it was just take some of that. Yeah. Eat it. Type stuff, but apparently Greg felt embarrassed because I beat him a few times in front of his friends and gloated about it. This was my bad, but everybody was making a huge show of gloating and peacocking after every victory, so I thought this wasn't out of the ordinary if I also did it. I thought it was just part of the fun, but in hindsight it was probably weird, and I probably should have acted differently. Also, they kept making comments like, "Wow, you're basically dating a dude, and you know your girlfriend is basically just like a girl version of," name of dude in their group, to Greg, because they were surprised that I was willing to have frank discussions about certain topics, like poop, sex, etc. I got the vibe they didn't spend that much time around girls because they were acting so surprised every time something like that came up. It was like that mentality of, "Whoa, girls don't fart or acknowledge farting, this is weird." I brushed it off, But I guess afterwards Greg's friends kept teasing him about that night and made some assertions that I was too manly and that I didn't, or wouldn't, respect him. Because I was manlier than him? And also because I'd been beating him, peacocking about it? I'm not entirely clear, but he made it clear that a lot of mocking was going on. So I guess this has been festering inside Greg ever since then and making him insecure. The poop sticker thing sent him overboard because he thought I was making fun of him because I didn't respect him? He interpreted it as me calling him a fat pile of crap and thinking I could get away with that? His words. It's still not entirely clear to me. He didn't do a great job of explaining it and was very frustrated that he had to articulate his feelings. I wasn't impressed. I will probably get flack for this, but I didn't feel very much empathy about this problem and thought it was kind of ridiculous and stupid. If Greg had brought this up to me at any point, we could have had a discussion about it, and I would have toned it down, though I disagree that my behavior being manly was somehow something for him to get insecure about. Unattractive, okay, I could see it. But it seemed like it was being turned into an emasculation thing by his friends, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. It feels almost red pilly, but I don't know enough about it to really say that. I don't really know how I feel. Anyway, I personally didn't think it was something for him to have such a strong reaction about, and it was a problem that could have easily been talked over if it had bothered him so much. I still didn't think it was anything worth kicking me out and ignoring me for, or name-calling. Nothing is worth that, in my opinion. But again, this is my first relationship. I'm probably just being selfish and pissed off. Regardless, it's over now. I told Greg he needed to grow up, but it wasn't going to be with me. His reaction was extremely immature and irrational. He acknowledged that, but was still angry at me for one, insulting him with the sticker and not showing him respect, even though we've always teased each other. I guess this goes back to the trash talking, and two, for wanting to break up. He said give it a few days to think about it, but I firmly said I didn't want to date him anymore. He said his friends were right and I was actually a CNT who didn't care about him or respect him. I hung up. He's been calling me some more, but I'm going to go see Inside Out with my friends and feel some feels and not worry about him again. I guess we both did some things wrong and we both need to do some maturing, but for now I don't feel too bad. I'm still pretty pissed off, but surprisingly not that sad for my first breakup. Maybe it will hit tomorrow. Or maybe I'll find a debonair, professorial type at the movies who will teach me how to have an adult relationship and let me send him poop stickers. Anyway, thanks for the support, Reddit. I feel better. /relevant comments. Commenter. I wanted to break up with you. You can't break up with me. Is what I'm reading. Either that, or he was trying to teach you a lesson or something about respecting him in some weird, stupid way. Unless there was something completely unrelated going on from his end. I dunno. Either way, breaking up was a good call. Commenter 2. Sounds like attempted emotional manipulation, with a big spoonful of establishing dominance. If he punishes her by insulting her and withdrawing affection, and she takes it, it gives him the ego boost of knowing he has power over his manly, disrespectful girlfriend, which restores his own masculinity that he lost in front of his friends. Once that's established, he can use those same tactics to make her change her behavior, no winning at games, no acting like one of the guys, and no having non-girly fun in front of his friends. You just know that these same jerks would have complained about how high maintenance op was if she'd spent the night watching the Kardashians and giving herself a pedicure.